For thousands of years, production of music consisted of three parts. First, you came up with a musical idea. Today we call this composing music. Second, you told your musician friends how they should play it. Today we call this arranging music. And third, you played it. Today we call this performing music. When technology improved and allowed us to record music to listen to it later, this added several other parts to this process: recording, mixing, and mastering. This shuffled the order of things, but essentially there are still three main parts: composing and performance we talked about already. And all the other processes here come under what we call music production today. So what does this mean? This means that arranging and mixing are two parts of the same process. If you have a good arrangement, your life will be much easier when mixing. If you have a poorly constructed arrangement, you will need some serious problem-solving skills. Let me show you what I mean. Let's imagine that I wrote a song, and for my arrangement, I decided to use a guitar, piano, and strings. Now let's imagine again that I told my guitar player to play this. My piano player to play this. And my string section to play this. Now, when we play all these together, they will sound like this. That's quite a bit of a mess, isn't it? This arrangement would make my song hard to listen to if we played it live, but it becomes an even bigger pain if we want to mix it. The problem here is that all these instruments use the same note range. From a mixing point of view, they are all in the same frequency range. Instruments mask the vocal. This is called frequency masking. It makes it hard for the listener to focus on the vocal. This type of arrangement is distracting and not a very pleasant experience. If we have to mix an arrangement like this, we're gonna have to turn down the instruments or cut them by equalizers in order to carve a space for the vocals. The music will end up sounding weak and it will lose most of its energy. This was an extreme example, but it's always a good idea to watch out for frequency masking when you're producing, arranging, or mixing music. If you're doing your own arrangements, you're lucky because you can solve this issue even before it becomes a problem. Choose your instruments carefully and assign each instrument to its own note or frequency range. Make sure that no instrument is masking any other instrument and nothing is masking the vocals. If you are mixing music that is arranged by other people, or if you have no way of going back and fixing any masking issues, there are several methods you can use to solve masking problems, and we will talk about them in detail when we start mixing our song. Another super important arrangement or production issue that causes problems in mixing is related to the rhythm section. Imagine that I have a drum track like this. And on top of that, I added a tambourine part like this. Now when we play them together, this is what we get. Sounds chaotic, doesn't it? Now let's analyze what's going on here. The drum part was in straight eighths. That means every measure has 8 equal subdivisions. On the other hand, the tambourine part uses swing eighths. That means, again, that every measure is divided into 8 subdivisions, but they are not equal. These subdivisions are grouped in twos. In each group, the first note is longer and the second one is shorter. So when we play them together, our brains get confused about where the subdivisions are, and it sounds chaotic. Another problem. Let's go back to the same drum part again. Imagine that I wrote this bass line to go with it. When we play them together, this is what we get. Chaotic again, huh? Here's why. Remember, I just said a moment ago that the drum part was in straight eighths, while the bass part is in 16th notes. and it has a groove that doesn't really match the groove of the drums. Such incompatible or clashing elements in arranging cause major issues in mixing, and it is super important to be aware of them. These problems are best fixed by going back to the arrangement, but again, if you have no way of doing that, there are several things we can do during the mixing process, and we will talk about them. In this section, we looked at the organic link between arranging and mixing and learned about the most important arranging mistakes that cause problems in mixing. In the next section, we will turn this organic link to our advantage. I will show you how you can make an arrangement work for you when you start mixing.